Welcome guys to another video. Today we are looking at one of my subscribers. He is called Lumira in-game on North American servers, but in YouTube he's called Andrew. I'm a big fan of his build here, and the reason for that is 11k barrier once the buffs are running and the relic is running. So here on the stat page it's a little less than 11k, but he's actually hitting 11k in-game. And he is playing Flamethrower into Fireball. That's quite a cool build, I would say. Yeah, he told me he's basically almost unkillable, but by most of the bosses on his level. So that is pretty insane, I would say. Of course, Flamethrower requires you to not move a lot, because it's a channeling skill. So yeah, tankiness is key here. Let's look how the build works. We can see almost no armor. The resists are maxed. A lot of poison resist here is missing still, but except that, it is looking pretty good. Of course, he wants to fix that. Chaos resist, also a bunch of that, so that's quite nice. And the physical hits, he's trying to tank that with the barrier. So yeah, let's look into the skills first. He is using Flamethrower, linked to area of effect, dot, elemental damage amplification, concentrated area damage, elite slayer rune, and spell activation while channeling. Fire penetration is linked to fireball, also concentrated area damage, spell damage, piercing, and persistence. For extra barrier, he's using cold armor. It's not benefiting from the cold damage here, but the added cold damage actually should apply, I think. But not from the percentage here, and the barrier here is a nice bonus, so that is quite good. Bulwark of protection on buff activation when hit. Out of provocation on buff activation hit. So when this is on off cooldown, it can actually trigger two different things. Since they don't share a cooldown, that is quite a good idea actually. I might steal that. Other than that, for the movement skills, he's using shield charge and teleport. Since he's using a shield, that is a perfect use of two movement skills here. Usually we try to be leap attack with any weapon that's not a 1, but on a 1 with a shield you can use shield charge, so you aren't stuck to teleport or dodge roll. You can have a second movement skill. That's quite powerful too. Yeah, let's see what these buffs here are actually linked to. So Shout of Provocation is linked to Lingering Shout, buff activation when hit, increased duration, and time acceleration. Bulwark of Protection also to time acceleration and buff activation when hit. Release Element to time acceleration and increased duration. Weaken Elemental Totem for enhanced totem and Lingering Totem that gives you more elemental damage, so quite powerful. Seal of Condensed Elements for more damage. Is there any defensive seal that I'm missing currently? I think there's no defensive seal in here yet. Either because there's no more space on the skills, or, which is more likely, I think he didn't get one yet. That's what I assume. Okay, so onto the gear. The weapon of choice is a wand here with spell damage. Double spell damage, dot amplification. Barrier absorb on spell hit, that's quite impactful on this type of build. So yeah, 4 good stats. Int is also good for barrier. So intelligence, as we can see here, is one of the most important stats on this build. Shield here with a lot of barrier. Some mana recovery, hit rating, elemental damage. And some resists, quite nice. Fire damage, elemental damage, health and resists and int, so 6 good stats on the necklace here. On the helmet, double barrier, triple resist, quite powerful. Also here, double barrier, some health, fire damage, some resists. Not the best rolls on these, but good use for the spalders. On this, I'd actually like to see +3 to spell runes. But other than that, a lot of barrier. That is quite good. With some resists. So as you can see, guys, all of this gear, it is quite good, but not perfect. Not nearly perfect. It's not full T10s. There's no legendaries in here, so that's quite achievable once you are in your 90s. Good barrier, double barrier on the gloves. With some chaos resist, some drop rate. Not too powerful either, no damage on these, no attack speed, no cast speed I mean. So yeah, quite achievable. Good movement speed on the boots with lots of barrier and triple resist. These are actually insanely good. If mana would be damage here, I would be so crazy going like crazy loving these boots if there was some damage here. Other than that, pretty good, not perfect. Intelligence belt, as we figured, in tier is very important. Lots of health on it, hit rating is quite nice. Some some cold resist. This belt actually 47 in, that's crazy. Barrier on the ring, elemental damage, hit rating, fire resist, lightning resist, quite good. Double damage on this ring, lots of int, hit rate and double resist here. For the charms, elemental damage and one-handed weapon, that works with shields. If you have one and a shield, so insane, crazy, insane caster gem here. And caster is one of the good ones, guys, so I am so jealous. I am so crazy jealous. Even if like the bottom part here doesn't scale with your build, the 73% elemental damage is already insane. For my build, that would be insane already. And then for his build, the second stat is also extremely good, so I don't know, guys. I am super jealous about this. Okay, let's see here. Lots of barium, some movement speed on low HP, which is fine, but the barrier is the big thing here, and it being a caster charm to achieve the 40% here. Lots of elemental damage, so that's like a filler. Once you get a better one, you will try to get either a caster one or a Capri one, I think. Another big barrier charm here, also for casters, so that's quite powerful. Some damage, 38% damage here. It's mostly... Oh yeah, he wants to play that for the barrier, I see. Okay, that's not a filler charm, that's actually a good charm. So for a barrier build, Alyssa is quite powerful since you get barrier and area damage, which scales with Flamethrower, and it also scales with Fireball. So it scales with both of the main skills here, quite powerful. And another good damage roll here, only one stat applying, the second stat doesn't apply to us, but very strong, very strong. So yeah, these charms are better than mine, I think. Or at least equally good. Okay, let's look into the talents. Everything into int for maximum barrier here. And it also helps with mana a little bit, but mostly for the barrier. Okay, let's see. On the first trade, lots of damage here, except for a little bit cast speed. On the second trade here, almost all the damage except this 10% damage rune. A lot of people choose to take this. But in this build you will take more defensive stats than what most people run. Spell hit ratings, some resists, some spell hit rate here and some damage. On the fourth, some cast speed, area of effect, damage up on spell, okay, nice. No potion here, no potion there. Wait a second. We looked at that right. Yeah, we did. Okay, on the fifth here, damage, resist, and all the barrier and damage. It's quite strong. On the sixth, you can see fire penetration and cast speed, quite standard. There's one single barrier stat here. I assume later on you can go into more barrier and physical damage, taking dampening. This is quite powerful since you don't have any armor. You would like to have that. Any fist damage dampening is quite powerful in this build. On the 7th, yeah, some barrier, some damage here, quite strong. And lots of damage up here and area of effect. yeah, like your Flamethrower, it can go so big, guys. It can get extremely big. So yeah, quite a powerful thing. Lots of damage here. And on the 8th, yeah, all the damage that applies basically. This is physical, this is crit, playing non-crit, so all the damage that applies is being taken there. Let's see in here. Some block, that's quite nice since he has the shield already. Max barrier if you have a shield, quite strong. Elemental resists, okay. And some even more barrier amplification. That is extremely strong on your barrier. And this here is actually crazy, 15% more barrier. That is actually crazy. You lose a little bit of recharge per second, but you gain so much barrier there. Insane stat. Okay, and let's look up here into the specialization, acceleration, for cast speed and movement speed. Convert mana to fix all the mana issues. You have to take that if you don't skill potions. And since life doesn't matter too much, because of all the barrier blocking incoming damage, life doesn't matter too much, so you can actually take convert mana quite easily without that being an issue to you. And then of course overpower for the penetration and elemental damage. On the second spec here, area of effect, no damage amplification here. I'm surprised he's not taking that over the elemental damage. Maybe his base elemental damage is not as high, so this scales better. But usually I'd think that this one scales harder. I'm actually surprised by that. Maybe he can explain when we see him again on the chat. Get a knowledge for lots of cast speed and spell damage. And here, yeah, even a lot more elemental damage amplification, very powerful. You take more elemental damage though, so that has a negative side to it, but it is a very strong stat. And of course here, barrier amplification. How can that be any different? That is insane amount of barrier here in these two skill points. Plus 2 projectile count to buff the fireballs, some projectile damage. And yeah, in here elemental damage, amplification and the barrier absorb on hit. Quite a powerful stat. On this build, on my build, it is basically a dead stat. I just take it to have the increased damage, so yeah, in this build it's actually a powerful stat here. And remember, this scales off the maximum barrier that you have. So the more barrier you have, the more you can absorb per second. And yeah, for the relics here, Avatar of Capri was the first choice. With fire penetration and realization. For the max barrier regen per second and the barrier charge recovery speed, so that's a very tanky level 30 relic skill here. With speed and chance to obtain the damage orb. And then the second choice here is the maximum barrier Avatar of Aquila. So once you have your relic at level 30, you can start to level a second one. So yeah, that's the build. I hope you guys liked it. And yeah, hopefully I see you in the next video. I'll also stream every day, almost every day. So be sure to come by the stream. Yeah, if you have questions, please let me know in the comments. I'm not gonna show gameplay for this build because by equipping level 1 runes on my character, I cannot show the insane amount of AoE that the Flamethrower will get, so it will just look boring. So yeah.